Hello Sagittarius, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me for your August 2023 Tarotscope. It is my absolute pleasure and such a blessing to be here with you, so thank you so very much for joining me. In the description box below, you will find links to all sorts of goodies. You will also find a timestamp if you would like to jump to the start of your reading. Please do keep in mind that this is a collective reading, not a personal reading, so only take what resonates with you and leave the rest. We are going to be looking at how you grew last month, what truth you are now ready to have revealed to you, how this truth will challenge you, how this truth will bless you, and getting you some guidance that will best support your evolutionary path. So let's dive in and see what August is bringing for you, Sag. Father, Mother, Life, Universe, Spirits, Guides, Angels, our cosmic team, our ancestors, our higher selves. How did Sagittarius grow in July 2023, please? How did Sagittarius grow? All right, I'm being told to take all of those. I think you're probably somebody who has the most for that portion of the reading, so that's really interesting. What truth is Sagittarius ready to have revealed to them, please? Thank you. How will this truth challenge Sagittarius? How will this truth challenge? Thank you. How will this truth bless Sagittarius? Okay. Thank you. Can we please have some clarity? Tell us more about how Sagittarius grew last month. Okay, I have to put that back. That's too many. Tell us more, please. How did Sagittarius grow last month? There, thank you. Tell us more, please. What truth is Sagittarius? Okay, thank you. Tell us more about how this truth will challenge. Okay, thank you. Tell us more, please, about how this truth will bless Sagittarius. Okay. I do feel like it's going to help you to release some fear. I do have some fear coming up, so I do feel like that will be a blessing for you in that way. What guidance will best support Sagittarius's evolution, please? What guidance will best support Sagittarius's evolution? Okay, thank you. That didn't really work out that well. Okay, so let's dive in. How did you grow last month, Sag? So you do have the law of neutrality here. Practice non-reaction and staying in equanimity. So I do feel that, yeah, how do I say this? I feel like you have started to come to this space where there's this understanding of, how do you say, the benefits of staying neutral, right? Which is very, very interesting, might I add, because Sag, in the tarot, you are Temperance. And it is literally that energy of like the middle path, of balance, of harmony, of patience. And I feel like this is something that you have, it's very interesting. So there are what appear to be these lotus flowers at the bottom. And as you can tell, it's like just starting to open up there. So I feel that for you, this has been a process, right? I don't feel like this just happened over the course of the month. I feel like this is something, whether you knew about it or not, you have been working on. And so now it's just starting to like really, really impact your reality. Like it's really starting to, how would I say this? It feels like it's really starting to, yeah, like like you're really starting to like reap the rewards of it, to like see how beneficial it is for you to just not deal with nonsense. Right? I feel like there's this energy of, you know, maybe you were somebody in the past who somebody would say something rude or catty or whatever, and you would just be like quick to like, you know, jump to like yelling or violence or something. And now it seems like, no, I'm just, you know, I just don't want to deal with that. I just don't want to deal with the drama. I don't want to deal with the nonsense. I don't want to deal with the repercussions of me losing my shit. Pardon my language, but that is right. That is the energy that's coming out. And I feel like this is, again, I feel like this is starting to show up in your reality. And it's so, you know, again, it feels like it's likely for you brought more harmony, more growth. It's probably helped you to be much more patient and in many areas of your life, not just in your interactions with other people, but, you know, probably with how you deal with yourself, any of your emotions that come up or anything that triggers you. It just feels like it's brought, or could be, you know, for whoever this resonates with, that it's helped you to experience more peace and harmony in your life, right? Which is super freaking powerful. Like, I'm actually seeing this woman here, right? She's up off the ground. I feel like it's just made living feel that much lighter. You also have here the law of divine will. Stop waiting for a sign. The universe responds to your beliefs. Okay, so I do feel like there are, before I go any further, I feel like there are some of you who are going to resonate with some of these. Maybe all of them, right? Or just maybe one or two or something. I don't know why. I think you're the first to like really feel like some of the, I don't know how to explain it. Because certainly there are going to be some who don't resonate with it at all. But it feels to me like maybe you just listened to me talk about this card here, this law of neutrality, and how that growth has taken place. And you're like, oh yeah, totally bang on. And then I might go into this card here and you'd be like, okay, none of that, right? I'm just saying that there could be some of you that experience that. Totally fine, by the way. It is a collective reading, so you are certainly likely to resonate with one or two messages, you know, versus the entire reading. Although that is also possible. You know, you could check your sun, moon, rising if you want some deeper insights. That might be helpful as well. All right, so for this law of divine will, I do feel that some of you grew last month in the sense of, how do I say this? Yeah, okay, thank you. It feels like if you're at our current stage of our evolution, okay, we're at this spot where we are meant to be developing our capital I, right? Our individuality. And we are meant to do that while understanding that we are sovereign, that we have Christ, that we have God within us, okay? And I feel like there are some of you who may have been looking outwardly for a sign to tell you to move forward, to tell you to go here, to tell you to do that. And that's not to say that we aren't shown certain signs and synchronicities and things like this. Okay? But I feel, I don't know why, it just feels, it's a very odd feeling, but it feels like for some of you, there's this whole idea of like, maybe in the past you've put power outside of yourself, right? So you're like, oh, I'm just waiting for this, I'm just waiting for this, I'm just waiting for this, I'm just waiting for this. And maybe over the last month, you've come to a space where you understand or acknowledge or are starting to come to terms with the fact that God is within you. And so if you have this belief, well, okay, so let me back up just a little bit. God is within you. And so like as within, so without. You help to create your reality, right? And so if you have this belief that you have to wait for something outside of yourself to give you permission to do something, you're going to be waiting. type of thing. Okay? Because it comes from within you. Right? You may hear something, you may dream about something. Sure, maybe you get a sign as confirmation or something like that, but usually that, so for example, even this reading, right? If you're like, oh, I totally resonate with that, she's like, you know, she knows things, yada, yada, yada. It is because you have energetically aligned, like you already know the truth within you, and you've energetically aligned with the frequency of that truth, and here you are. Right? So I feel like for some of you, you may have come to understand this. And it's like, so I'm not just sitting and waiting for a sign, right? Looking for something outside of myself to tell me to move or tell me where to go or tell me what to do. I understand that this is within me and I have to give myself permission. Like I'm ready to move, right? And then waiting for, if there is a waiting, which certainly there can be, that sign to move forward comes from within you and then can be confirmed in your external reality through what you experience. Because as within, so without. I hope and pray to the Lord that makes sense. Because I feel like some of you have grown in that way. Like, I feel like some of you are understanding like, oh, nobody has to really come give me permission. I have to give me permission. And even if God is like, wait, move, or wait, don't move yet, that's fine. But that information comes from within me. Okay? If you resonate with that, let me know if it makes sense in the comments. We also have here the law of nature, reconnect with Mother Earth. It's very interesting because I do feel like for some of you, you've grown, how do I say? You may have grown more wise, more perceptive on your connection to nature, in the sense that there may be an understanding that we are cyclic, right? Just like nature, like we are not separate from nature. As a matter of fact, we are nature, right? We are the physical embodiment of the cosmos, of the planet. And so I feel like for some of you, you've come to understand and have grown through this knowledge or awareness that we are nature, that you are a part of nature, that we too experience cyclic how would you say? I don't even know. That we are also cyclic, right? We experience life, death, rebirth over and over again in our experience, right? There's I just feel like there's this understanding. And so for some of you, I feel like with the understanding comes this, how would you say, calm or peace, or maybe this neutrality, right? Of, I don't have to fear things changing, or, you know, maybe certain things not working out, or whatever it is, because I understand that we experience these things for us to be able to grow. Very much like, you know, you watch the trees change during the seasons, right? And understanding that things happen for us to be able to grow, to nourish us, to help us evolve, right? So there's this higher perspective, this knowledge, this wisdom of being connected to nature. I feel for some of you with this card. For others of you, I feel like it is simply that you have acknowledged the importance of actually being in nature, right? Like actually getting out, actually experiencing nature. Or maybe, I don't know why, but for some of you, I feel like maybe not everyone will resonate with this, certainly, but it feels like for some of you, you may really enjoy nature and then like stepped away from it for some reason, went into hiding or something. I'm getting fear coming up as well, and then like found your way back, if you will, and are now becoming reacquainted, if you will, with how much you truly do enjoy nature. So that's an interesting little side note. But I feel like either way, there's been wisdom gained here, right? Regardless of whichever path you may resonate with, there's certainly been wisdom gained, because I keep being drawn to that, what appears to be an owl there at the top of the card. And for those of you that have found or, realized how important it is to be in nature, and that's how you've grown, I feel like you understand that through nature, we are able to connect to different levels of awareness. Okay. Maybe you've started like earthing or something, or have realized how beneficial it is to like ground, or, something of that nature. We also have here the law of allowing. Stop trying to fix, change, or control anyone. This is powerful. For those of you that resonate with growing in this way, this is super, super powerful. I do feel like for some of you, that law of neutrality and practicing that non-resistance, or finding that middle path, that balance, you may resonate with this as well, because I feel like there's this understanding of when you try to change people, try to change situations, try to fix things, try to, be the savior, like it doesn't go well. I feel like it doesn't end the way you think it will. It probably never has. Because in truth, we're not here to save anyone but ourselves. Certainly we can help humanity. Certainly we can plant seeds. Certainly we can be teachers and guides, but we cannot save anyone, right? Not even God can save someone without them wanting to save themselves. They have that choice, right? So I do feel that for some of you, you may have become aware of this. And how would I say, if you're somebody who resonates with like a light worker or a healer or something of that nature, an empath even, a lot of us who identify with any of those also would tell you that there's this kind of savior complex that you kind of go through and have to break free from, where we want to try to save everybody because we want to help like our heart is in the right space, but we take on more than necessary, and it can also be very detrimental to ourselves to try to do that. And we're no good to anybody if, we're tapped out, right? So I feel that for some of you, you've learned this. And you've grown in that way where you have now given yourself permission to step back and just let people be, right? You can plant seeds all day long, but you're not going to be able to create any particular outcome. They have to create their own. So I do feel like for some of you, again, there's this neutrality that comes in as well, where you have grown by just allowing things to unfold and letting it be whatever it's going to be, right? Which is lovely. I mean, that's a huge step in growth for sure. To clarify, yeah, we have the Eight of Swords. This is freeing yourself from stories, from limitations, from, this really, here, I just feel like this is freeing yourself, mastering your own mind, right? Being able to, how would we say, gain new perspectives and to accept things as they are, to accept yourself as you are, to, again, free yourself from things that have kept you maybe reactionary, that have kept you stagnant, right? Because here we have this energy of like waiting for somebody to give you permission to do something, or looking outside of yourself, when the truth is it's within. So again, I feel like you've freed yourself from those stories and have went through some change or rebirth where you now see yourself and the world around you more clearly. And I just got the word responsibility. So I feel like there's an element here of taking responsibility for yourself and understanding that as within, so without, when you tell yourself certain stories, that is what you're going to experience. If the world's out to get you, guess what? If that is the belief you have, if that is the story you tell yourself, that is the prison you create for yourself. And that is surely what you're going to experience. I'm just using that as an example. I'm not saying that you'll resonate with that, but you know, so I feel that you've grown in the sense of you've been able to free yourself to take on new perspectives and to, you know, allow yourself to experience life much more differently. Much more, I said, yeah. Anyways, let's put this over here. We also have the Fool in the reverse. So yeah, like I was saying, right? There's this energy of freeing yourself with the Eight of Swords. Here with the Fool in reverse, it is that energy I feel just intuitively coming through. This one of maybe you didn't have faith in yourself before and have now been able to find that. Maybe before, for those of you who were reactionary, you acted without regard for the consequences. You may have been inconsiderate, reckless. And I feel like working through these things may have freed you from that. Right. Also, for those who, you know, found it difficult to allow people to, you know, fix themselves, change themselves, that I feel is also being a little bit reckless with our energy, right? It is also not considering the consequences of not letting people deal with their own stuff, right? When you're trying to save somebody, they're not learning lessons that they need to. Right? It's important for them to do that. And so I feel like that's something as well, right? I just feel like there's been this move out of that more foolish behavior or that fear of taking a leap, that, you know, that fear of, and taking a leap on someone else, like trusting them to do what they need to do to free themselves, trusting them to get new perspectives, right? It's such an interesting energy that's coming through. But, you know, I feel that there's just been this growth because that Fool in the reverse can be this energy of like being naive, right? And I feel like you've just grown. All right, so let's take a look at what truth you're ready to have revealed to you. Yeah, the law of non-attachment, let go, release, and allow miracles. Isn't it interesting? Because you do have this energy of like neutrality, non-reaction, you know, law of allowing, stop trying to fix, change, or control anyone. And here we have the law of non-attachment. And I feel the truth you're ready to have revealed to you is that when you step back, right, which it seems like for some of you, you've already been doing. For those of you who haven't, this is your sign. I feel like for those of you that have stepped back and you've been, you know, trying to remain neutral, pardon me, and just let people do what they do, let experiences be what they're going to be. I feel like you could have this truth revealed that shows that essentially, and I've said this a lot throughout these Tarotscopes, so you're not the only one, I promise. You are the key, right? You are the key to experiencing miracles, to experiencing abundance, to experiencing blessings, to experiencing high vibrational energy, pardon me, to experiencing healing, to experience anything. You are the key. You are your own savior. And by releasing your attachments to certain stories, to, you know, and maybe the story is just that you're foolish, you're naive, you don't know what you're doing. Maybe that's the story you've released, right? For some of you. And even in doing that, when you release those stories, when you release those people, those situations, the trauma, the wounding, the programming, when you let that go, you open up or make space for new things to come in. And actually, I'm having this example dropped into my field, which I've used already in another Tarotscope, where there's this picture that's floating around socials where it's a little kid and Jesus. And this little kid has this little tiny stuffed animal, maybe like this, I mean, you know, little thing. And Jesus is asking, like, has his hand out, asking for that, for the child to give him that animal. And the child is, you know, hesitant. But what the child doesn't see is that behind Jesus's back is this big stuffed animal, like almost the same size as this kid. So essentially what is being shown there is that when you give up something, when you turn it over to the universe, you release it, God, the universe, right, replaces it with something better. You make room for what is better for you. Okay? And I feel like this is something that you are ready to have revealed to you. You do have Judgment here in the reverse. Yeah. So it's very interesting. I feel like for some of you, how do I say this? Okay. For some, there's this, again, you gain this new perspective where I feel like you may not have had that perspective before, or the understanding, that awareness before of what happens, what happens when you release things. Again, it kind of, I mean, you have two major arcana out here, one from the very beginning and one from the second to last. So I feel like could be a huge leap in your growth or in your understanding of yourself, Sag. But with the Judgment here in this position, with this card, this non-attachment, I feel like what you are, the truth, that like you're ready to have this truth revealed to you, but what I feel you're meant to be releasing is your harsh judgment of yourself, like that skewed image of yourself. Maybe there's been doubt about yourself. There's been like some self-loathing going on. Let that go. Let that go. I also feel that with it, again, with this showing up here, I feel like you maybe didn't have the awareness, the perspective, to, how do I say it? Like, forgive yourself for not knowing what you didn't know. Right? If you don't know that holding on to things is preventing you from growing, from awakening, from evolving, from bringing in miracles and abundance and, you know, more things that would maybe be more fulfilling, you just don't know. Right? So forgive yourself for not knowing what you didn't know. And I just want to say, like, I've noticed just that it's raining quite heavily, and I'm actually being drawn to speak on it because I feel like there's a message there for you in this, like, kind of cleansing, right? Letting yourself be cleansed, letting it run off of you like water, letting it go. Okay. Oh, yeah, so I just heard, let it go. Okay, one more time. Let it go to grow. You also have the Page of Wands here in the reverse. So again, I feel like the truth you're ready to have revealed to you is having this skewed image of yourself, having this, maybe for some of you, self-loathing, this doubt, this harsh judgment of yourself. I feel that you create this conflict within, and that's what you carry with you, right? So instead of being, let's say, enthusiastic, excited, feeling free, oh yeah, and not being like contained by fear, you instead feel very conflicted. You feel like, you know, you don't really know what you're supposed to be doing or where you're supposed to be going, or what purpose your life has, things like this. So I feel that in letting these things go, it's going to, I feel like not only is the truth that's ready to be revealed to you that when you let go and release and you practice non-attachment, that you allow miracles, but also that when you let go of these things and you make room for new stories, for new belief systems, that you then can become enthusiastic about life, that you can then have this kind of awakening, and you see yourself much more clearly when you release these stories, when you release harsh judgment, when you free yourself from that conflict, right? Which again, it allows you to be more confident, more courageous, more enthusiastic about life overall. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So how will this challenge you? The law of giving and receiving. Give away a material belonging to someone you love. Oh my gosh. I mean, really, you have let go, release, and allow miracles. And we were just talking about that picture with Jesus. And now you literally have this card. You cannot make this stuff up. You literally have this card of like giving something away. And in the guidebook, there's something in there along the lines of like, for the action portion, because there's a journal and action portion, and there's this suggestion in that portion that says like literally give away something you love to someone who will love it, because that is helping you to develop that non-attachment, right? And to see like you're gonna be okay even if you give that thing away, even if you, right? But it's not only about giving, right? It's also about receiving. So I feel like the challenge for you is both. I feel like the challenge for you is, you know, releasing things, letting things go. Though I feel like for some of you, you certainly have started down that path anyhow. You know, but I feel like for some of you, it's difficult to give away things. Especially like things that you are like, oh, I love this so much. Like this is my favorite sweater. Or this is my favorite thing, or whatever, right? I do feel that there are some of you who are going to resonate more heavily with allowing yourself to receive, okay? I feel like for some of you, when people give you things, whether it is like a physical, tangible something, or if they are willing to give their time or their energy or their attention or something along those lines, you feel unworthy, you feel uncomfortable, you feel, you know, even though you may allow it or receive it, there's some aspect that I'm picking up of resistance, some like why, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe somebody's like, oh, here's this thing, and you're like, oh, okay, you know, it's not like, oh, like, thank you, you know, there's not that instant acceptance. It's this kind of like, wait a minute, why are you doing this, right? Because I don't know what it is. Maybe there's some wounding or something around false intentions, or I don't know, something, which certainly, you know, if that's the case, that's the case, right? We all have wounds to heal. But, you know, I feel that there's something here about maybe you feel unworthy, maybe you feel undeserving, maybe you feel like you should be the one giving things, right? But I do feel like the challenge for you is both, right? Some of you may resonate more heavily with one than the other, but certainly I feel like it could be both. I'm just going to read just the message portion of this card for you, just to get a little bit more insight for you. Give me 1 second. Okay. So it says, are you holding on to a particular item which is communicating to the universe you are not ready to receive? There is not any difference between giving and receiving. They are one and the same. By drawing this card, your higher self desires for you to expand your ability to flow in the exchange of energy with all of life. The first step is to let go of everything that no longer serves your life. Someone else will benefit from these items that you do not need. When you let go of what you have been holding on to, the universe will bring new energy into your life. you are going to receive something big, right? So it's interesting because, like I was saying, you know, it's that story of like Jesus. Some of you maybe there's some connection to faith there as well, right? Being worthy of Jesus or receiving miracles or something like that. That's a challenge for you. I do have the Queen of Wands here. So interestingly, I feel like part of this challenge is being confident enough in yourself, right? To give things away, that you're going to be okay if you do that. But also to receive and to let yourself acknowledge that you are worthy of that. Okay. That you, how do I say it? Like you're confident or maybe self-assured would be another thing, right? Where it's like you are worthy of this. Okay? You deserve whatever you're receiving. It is also safe. You can be confident in giving things away. It's not going to diminish your value, right? It's very interesting because this Queen of Wands energy is very, very energetic, very lively, but very confident and very self-assured. And I feel like that confidence in yourself to maybe receive, again, I keep getting the energy coming up, or like your confidence in your ability to like be okay giving stuff away, I feel like it's certainly going to be a challenge. Ooh, you have the Chariot as well. Look at that color scheme. They're pretty much the same. It's very interesting. But with that Chariot, you know, this is that energy I feel of, how do I say? I feel like the challenge is like overcoming that internal conflict, like having the will, if you will. Oh, that was horrible. Having the will to give, you know, let things go. But also, again, the Chariot is another energy of like self-assertion. Both of these energies are. So I feel like that is like the biggest challenge for you, is that self-assertion. Not only in that you're going to be okay giving stuff away. I mean, not only that, not only can you do that, not only can you have that discipline, but also that you, again, like you deserve to receive, right? That self-assertion, like I am worthy of receiving, I am enough, right? It's really fascinating. I don't know why. I feel like some of you maybe just hold on to stuff, right? Maybe some of you hold on to stuff you don't even freaking know why you have. Or that you don't even, you know what I mean? Like, that's not to say maybe you don't have, you know, maybe you do have certain emotional attachments to certain things, but for whatever reason, I'm just being drawn to how many candles she has sitting there, because I feel like there's something here about, like, this is the only thing she needs right there. That one. All of these she can get rid of, right? So I feel like for some of you, there is this, like, maybe you struggle to let things go or have in the past. And so there's this energy of like moving on from that, and that being the challenge, breaking that habit. So how will this bless you? The law of truth: love unconditionally and create healthy boundaries. Yeah. Yes. I feel like first of all, I feel like this is going to bless you by, again, by delivering you truth, plain and simple. And the truth being that you are love at your core. You are worthy of love. You are enough. Okay? That I feel is like one of the big things. I feel secondly, another way this is going to bless you is through that truth that you have enough love in you to just give it away. I know that sounds kind of weird, but to, you know, you have the power within you to just love, right? Like, you don't have to know somebody to love them. You don't. That is, it's not to say that you shouldn't be using your discernment, because certainly you should. 100%. Okay? But, you know, that doesn't mean you can be compassionate to a stranger. You can show kindness and love to a stranger. Okay? With healthy boundaries. Again, discernment, right? And I feel like for some of you, I feel like this is gonna, you know, if you allow yourself to get to this space, I feel like you're going to experience life in a completely different way. Like, it's literally going to feel like your life has bloomed. I know that sounds kind of corny, but it's how it feels. It feels like it's going to open a completely new door, and you're going to experience life so much differently. Because I feel like there's been this, it's actually kind of being shown to me like a box. Like, you've just been walking around with this box around you and not really experiencing life as fully and magnificently as you could. Which is odd for your energy, Sag, because you tend to be kind of, you know, optimistic. You tend to kind of be enthusiastic. But for some reason, I don't know what it is. Maybe you've been, you know, in this state of your healing, or maybe you've been in your trauma, your wounding, your stories, and the love that you've been aligning with has been aligned with that. And now, perhaps this is going to bless you by aligning you with unconditional love, with true love, not surface level trauma bonding. And maybe this is where those healthy boundaries come in, because maybe you start to recognize the difference. Because you see your own worth. You see your own value. You acknowledge the truth of your own being as you release yourself from these stories that have told you that you're not enough, that you're not worthy, that you're foolish, that you're never going to change, whatever the story is. And maybe when you start to love yourself and see yourself truthfully, then you start to recognize that there is such a thing as like unconditional love and whatever the other stuff is, right? So let's see here, though. Let me dive into the book just to give you, again, some more depth on how this might bless you. Okay. Here we go. It says, at the core of who you are lives an omnipotent presence that has eternal wisdom and love. Within each cell of your body lives a divine intelligence, an innate healer, and an unlimited life force. You are endowed with intuition and universal guidance. The extent to which you deny this is the extent to which you will suffer. By drawing this card, your higher self desires for you to live authentically. The triune of freedom is truth, life, and beauty. To unlock your divinity, you must end any battle within, yes, and live a transparent life. Telling the truth may be uncomfortable at first, but the universe assures that there is a life of freedom on the other side. Most importantly, tell yourself the truth, and you will be set free. So, at the root of it, how does this bless you? It sets you free. Do know that I strongly believe in the phrase, the truth will set you free, but first, it's going to hurt a lot. Right? But the freedom that you experience far surpasses the pain. Maybe it doesn't seem like it while you're in it, while you're working your way through it, but it does. Okay. You also have here the law of emergent evolution. Make a new declaration for your life. I'm getting fear coming up as well. So, you know, I feel like, here's the thing. I feel like for some of you, this could literally bless you by putting you in this position to live by your truth. And declaring, I am going to move from truth and nothing else from this point forward. Which is thereby going to propel your evolution, right? Likely skyrocket it. And not only that, but to help you to endure through anything that you experience. When you stand in conviction on your truth, when you just stand, you're just like, nope, I'm digging my heels in. It's truth or nothing. Right? Like you, I mean, there comes pain with that, but declaring that and standing in that strongly and having faith in it allows you to endure whatever comes. And I'm noticing too that there are all these butterflies here on this card and on this one, both. If you can see that, they're kind of light. Okay, so I feel that, you know, through what's coming in for you, you have this grand opportunity to transform, to experience life differently, to transform your life, to transform yourself, your reality, right? And again, to evolve from a new way of being. Right? And I feel like discovering this truth about yourself, I feel like it could bless you by literally having you declare something brand new over your life and moving from that space, from that point forward, should you let it. Yeah. I mean, come on now. You have the Ace of Swords, new beginning, a breakthrough, clarity. That is what is coming for you. That is the blessing that you receive through receiving this truth, through working through the challenges of knowing that truth and allowing yourself to uncover the truth, discover the truth, experience the truth, be the truth. I mean, not only that, but swords is often about, you know, awareness and perception and truth, right? So this moves you into this beautiful state of being. Like the blessing is that you gain clarity and a new beginning. I mean, if you don't want that, fine, right? Like, no, I'm not twisting your arm about it, but it's there for you if that is what you want to experience. So what is the guidance that will best support your evolution, your new beginning? You have Priestess. How are you being called to step up and lead? So regardless, male or female, doesn't really matter, right? Just how are you being called to step up and lead? And I really feel like this is a question for you to ponder on, journal about, pray about, meditate on, whatever it is, right? I feel that because I do feel like there is something in you. There's something in you that is that is pulling you. Right? Something in you that is asking you to look a certain direction, move a certain direction, make a certain move, whatever it is. Yeah, I mean, it's an act of courage. It's an act of opening up to what you know within. With that truth. I mean, look at, she has her arms. She's relaxed. Her face is relaxed. Her body language is very relaxed. She is very open, right? And with the palms up, I mean, this is very open. Especially when we think about body language and about how people protect themselves, right? Oftentimes when they feel they need to protect themselves, defend themselves, they've got closed fists, their arms are crossed, their arms are inward, right? They hide their neck. They tend to tilt their neck downward because they're protecting their major organs, right? It shows in body language. And here, if you look, she is wide open. So I feel like, you know, this is an energy of being open to receive that truth. And how are you being called to step up with what you're learning? What truth are you being called to step into? Right? And are you open to receiving that? So, you know, I mean, the guidance literally, I feel, is to ask yourself, how are you being called to step up? How are you being called to be truthful? What does that look like? Because you know, we all know our truth. It's just buried under a bunch of nonsense. You also have here keepers, of the earth. You are not alone. Ancient ancestors stand beside you. So, you know, for some of you, I feel like you feel your ancestors. That's not going to resonate with everybody, but I feel like you feel them for some of you. And I do feel for some of you, there are Native American roots that you feel connected to, or like you have some ancestry there, or some kind of spirit guide or something. I don't know why. It's very interesting. But I feel like the biggest message here, the guidance that you need the most, Sag, is like, you literally are not alone. Because I feel like you've felt alone. And actually, I'm being shown, it's very interesting, right? Sag, you're known as the archer. And I'm actually seeing like someone with a bow and arrow. And it being like, always like looking around with this bow and arrow. Like I always have to be on guard. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm the one standing at the forefront. I'm the one who, how do I say this? It's like, I can only count on me. And that even if you have people in your life, even if you have people you trust, even if you have people you love, doesn't matter. Whoever this is for, I feel like you are literally feeling like you are just on guard. And you've got to look out for you because nobody else gets it. Nobody else gets you. Nobody else can protect you the way you can protect you. Nobody's going to look out for you the way you look out for you. And maybe that comes from what you've experienced in your life, which is okay. I completely understand. But I feel this message is coming through for you to let you know you are literally not alone. You never are. First of all, we all have a guardian angel, number one. And number two, you are never without God and never without Christ, ever. Unless, I mean, you can turn your back all you want. Doesn't matter. God never turns its back on you. And I feel like some of you have felt incredibly alone. Incredibly alone. But the truth is you're not. Ever. And I feel like you need to know that. Right? I feel like you need to know that you are supported. I feel like you need to know that you are loved. Even if you don't feel like it from this earthly perspective, you are so freaking loved beyond anything that you can truly fathom. By God, by the angels, by your ancestors, right? You have, there's so much love for you. Even if you don't believe that you deserve it, even if you don't believe you're worthy of it, even if you you feel like you have never felt that ever. It is there. And for some of you, I do feel like if you look back over your experiences, you may have seen where God has sent you somebody to show you how loved you truly are. This could have been an experience where maybe you were like, you know, I don't even know. It could be literally anything. But you know, you could have felt very alone, very down, very kind of just wandering. That's kind of how I'm getting it, just wandering through life. Yeah. You could have just been wandering through life, and then suddenly there's somebody who you're like, wait a minute. This person seems to understand me. They seem to get me. How is this possible? Right? They're just accepting of me, and maybe you never felt like that. Maybe you've only met one person like that, but I feel like God has sent you people or a person or something at some point when you felt like nobody loved you. to just show you, right? And maybe things could have went wrong or something. Okay, fine, right? They were in your life for a season. Fine. To teach you, to show you like that love is out there. And then you were meant to develop it on your own. And maybe, I don't know what the story is. Okay. But I feel like the guidance that you need to know the most, aside from what are you, how are you being called to step up, is you are not alone ever. Okay. You have so much support and so much love. You just have to be willing to receive it. That's all. So, Sagittarius, I feel like this could be a pretty transformative month for you. You do have quite a bit of major arcana out here, which tells me that you're going through a journey of your own, diving into the mystery of yourself and really uncovering the truth of who you are, certainly with a law of truth there. And I pray that you're able to do that. I pray that you're able to recognize the value that you are just by being. And I pray that you're able to let go of anything that is not in alignment with that, anything that is not in alignment with love and truth and happiness for you. I pray that you're able to let that go and then to receive all that is aligned with truth, love, and happiness freely, and knowing that you are deserving of it. If something in this reading has resonated for you, please do the YouTube things by liking, sharing, commenting below, or subscribing. It really does help the channel to grow, so I am so very grateful for you doing that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope that you have a powerful August. Take care of your courageous, loving, loved, lovable soul. Peace be with you and within you, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye.